Okay, so let's kick this off. And the first thing that we're going to be doing is to take an overview look at the Enneagram. So let's get that up on the screen. Oops, wrong screen. So here we go. This is the overview of the Enneagram. And before we kick it off, I just want to give some acknowledgement and disclaimers. The source of the majority of this material comes from IEQ9, or the Integrative Enneagram, of which I'm a passionate follower of. And as you can see there, I have been certified by IEQ9 as an accredited practitioner at the level 1 and level 2 levels. That means I am certified to give feedback to individuals and teams and to work in team groups to ensure that they understand the full aspect of how we can use the Enneagram in teams. I love AI, and where I've used AI to produce content, I flag it just so that you know that it's not all my content. I have missed a bit, but generally speaking, I've been able to capture most of the AI stuff. So let's get into it, the overview. So if we look at the Enneagram, and here is a wonderful quote from Richard Riso and Russ Hudson, who were the creators of the Riso-Hudson Enneagram model. We are all born perfect. Our personalities are a representation of our strategies to get through life. A fantastic grounding and a wonderful way to think of the Enneagram. At the moment of conception or birth, everyone is perfect. And over time, we develop our personalities, and those reflect the strategies that we use in our youth to be able to combat or deal with whatever we're facing. So we take that to another step, and this is AI generated, just by the way. Just like life, just like a life script, our Enneagram type is a story we begin writing in childhood to make sense of the world and protect ourselves. Growth begins when we realize we are not the story, we are the authors. I love that, even though it's AI generated. It implies that no matter what our grounding is, no matter what our life script is, the Enneagram reflects that and helps us grow through that understanding. So what is it? It's a powerful tool for understanding personality, behavior, and motivation. So what we will be delving into is a lot about behavior and motivation throughout the next sections of this. Where does it come from? Rooted in ancient wisdom, it combines modern psychology and timeless insights into human nature. And on the next slide, we'll see a brief overview of the history of the Enneagram. So basically, the Enneagram identifies 9 distinct personality types and their unique patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting. Very important. Reflects the universal principle of wholeness, balance, and transformation. So when we look at the diagram on the left-hand side of the screen there, what do you think the longest line is? I'm going to tell you. It's the one right around the outside. And that means we all have these personalities in us. Just one of them is more dominant than the rest. And so it's about growth through understanding that and achieving balance and transformation. And that transformation can come through what we call the wings, or it can come through the lines. And there's a lot of explanation that I will go through on those concepts. The Enneagram is not a boxing process. Rather, it's a tool for self-awareness, your own growth and transformation. And it can be used in coaching, therapy, leadership, and team development, as I mentioned before. Most importantly, it explains how each of us develops a core personality type as a strategy for navigating life. A little bit of a history. Pre the 20th century, this goes way back in time to right back to Pythagorean mathematics, as you can see on the lines. Middle Eastern and Sufi traditions are built into this, and then some Christian mysticism. So it takes a rich source of content and brings it out in the Enneagram. In the early 20th century, George Gurdjieff introduced it as a symbol to illustrate universal laws. And then early this century or early last century, Oscar Chato connected the symbol to the 9 ego types and childhood trauma. So we're taking it right back into the childhood again. Then Claudio Naranjo, he integrated the Enneagram with modern psychology and introduced it to the world through his practices in California. So a brief history of where the Enneagram comes from. It's unique. It focuses on why you behave the way you do, and not just on what you do. So it looks at the core fundamentals of why you are like you are. Through that self-awareness, it provides the opportunity for growth, because as you become self-aware, you can then take action on your personality and become more adept at dealing with situations. So it offers a dynamic model for personality with paths for transformation. Why do we use it? We use it to discover deeper self-awareness and understand what drives your decisions. Just a little insight, I'm a 7. Okay, so before you make up your mind about what you are, I can tell you I'm a 7. And believe you me, knowing what the definition of the 7 is, I can absolutely see it in a lot of the stuff that I do. And that self-awareness has allowed me to become conscious of why I make decisions, and has allowed me to then work with those decisions. It improves relationships by understanding others' perspectives. Awesome. As a 7, once again, I can understand where other people come from. And what you will learn is, if you understand the different types, you'll be able to relate to people on a much better footing, especially important for team interactions. Gain tools for personal and professional growth, as I mentioned, and move beyond behaviors to the core motivations behind them. How it helps you, once again, it helps you understand your strengths and blind spots. I'll talk more about that when we get into the 7s, or into my own number as an example. Develop emotional intelligence and adaptability helps us to work more capably with others. Enhances team dynamics and collaboration, and sets and achieve meaning, and it will help you set and achieve meaningful goals. Okay, so if we look at how the Enneagram relates to other models, here is an example with transactional analysis. Transactional analysis is a very common concept out there, and this diagram shows you the relationship between the two. If we look at transactional analysis, the purpose is to make sure we make sense of the world and ensure safety and love. The mechanism is through unconscious narrative guiding belief, choices, and behaviors. The impact limits our spontaneity. If you understand transactional analysis, you'll understand the impact of that. And the path to growth using transactional analysis is through awareness and rewriting your life script. On the other side, the Enneagram, very similar. The purpose is to navigate your inner fear and preserve essence, your own personal essence. How does it work? Personally, it works through personality patterns driven by core fears, desires, and motivators. The impact limits access to true self by reinforcing automatic behaviors. And the path to growth is through awareness and loosening identification with time. So you can see the similarity between the two, and really both of them have their origins formed in early childhood. So we can see the similarity between the Enneagram approach and transactional analysis. Here's a brief overview of the types, and before I go into this, the model that you see on the screen is the integrative Enneagram model. Okay, so that's the IEQ9 model, and it is common, the numbers are common, the descriptions are common across all models, no matter which one you're looking at. However, the descriptions sometimes change. So please just be aware. The 9 personality types are consistent, sometimes due to copyright issues. The actual description, so for example, number 1 in the Enneagram, we call it a strict perfectionist. In other models, it may be called something slightly different. Means exactly the same thing. Please be consistent, or please be aware of that. The description and the type number is the important part here. So in this particular model, number 1, the strict perfectionist loves order, structure, and control. The considerate helper is pleasing, giving, supporting, and complimenting. The competitive achiever is all about accomplishment and looking good. The intense creative, this is a very authentic person. It's a deep person and loves deep connections. The quiet specialist loves to think, analyze, and solve problems. The loyal skeptic is always cautious and prevents conflict. Enthusiastic visionary, my number, by the way, positive outlook with a monkey mind. And believe me, I have a monkey mind. Number 8, active controller. This is the powerful person, the direct person, loves to take control. And then number 9 is the adaptive peacemaker. That's the person who avoids conflict, is always trying to be that peacemaker, and thrives in a comfortable environment. With those simple descriptions, what do you think you are? Okay, these are very simplistic descriptions, but right now I'm sure you're already starting to think about, oh, what am I? I'm a 7. What are you? Thanks for that part. Click on if you want to go directly to the next session, and I'll see you there. Thank you.